Hey everyone, welcome to another SEJ Marketing Think Tank webinar. I am taking the place of Brent today. My name is Kelsey Jones. I'm SEJ's executive editor. And today we are joined with Rocco Baldassare. He is going to talk about 15 methods for optimizing your Facebook ads, which I'm super excited about. Right now I'm going to let Rocco do a quick introduction of himself, and then I'm going to jump into a little bit of housekeeping.
Hello everyone, my name is Rocco Baldassare. I'm the owner and founder at Zebra Advertisement, and I'm very excited to talk to you today about Facebook and ways to optimize your Facebook campaigns to get the maximum out of them. Just to give you a quick introduction about the base of this presentation is that I've tested more than 17,000 Facebook ads, and based on these learnings made in 20 countries, mostly in the United States and in 12 languages, I really learned a lot of things that I would like to share with you so you can use them for your own campaigns. So let's get started pretty much soon with that, and I'm looking forward to sharing this experience with you.
Thanks, Rocco. Just a couple housekeeping before you get started. We would really love it if you guys would join along with us on Twitter, Instagram, Google+, Facebook, whatever, using the hashtag SEJ ThinkTank. We're going to be monitoring questions on that hashtag, and then also if you are on the webinar and you have questions, you can also ask them for Rocco in the question box, and Danielle, our webinar manager, will be monitoring those and passing them on to me for the end of the webinar. We're also going to do some poll questions throughout the webinar that you'll get a chance to participate on, so watch out for those. And lastly, the entire webinar is going to be recorded, and we're going to make it available on YouTube and then through a recap post on SEJ, and that's usually available tomorrow, if not Friday. So without any further delay, Rocco, let's talk about Facebook ads.
Perfect. Let's get started with it, and let's start with the first way to really optimize your campaign. And we're going to talk about cross-channel remarketing. Cross-channel remarketing is very cool because somebody might be looking for your website on Google, come to your website and not converting. This is a potential customer that you're not taking advantage of. So advertising to these people when they go on another channel such as Facebook is very good because it improves the way your brand looks like, and also it improves your result. And your branding, of course, will gain a lot out of it. And the main advantage of it is that people might believe your brand is very a big brand, and a brand that is everywhere, because most of the times they don't understand that what they see on Facebook is a sponsored post. So let's try it for your business, and you will see that results will be very good for you. The second tip that I would like to share with you is to optimize desktop newsfeed and right column ads separately. Many people used to create campaigns that mix up desktop and right columns. But let's have a look at this image real quick. Newsfeed are big, they have a big image, they have more text, not in this case because they use the small text. And right column ads are very small, they have a small image. Nowadays they also get a little bit of a bigger image there, but overall they're not in the center of the action. And therefore you cannot create a campaign that targets them both at the same time, because you cannot optimize two different things the same way. The CTR will be lower on the right column, the CPC will be higher on the newsfeed ads. So you really need to make sure that you optimize your campaigns based on the placement that you deliver them. So create at least separate ad sets, if not campaigns, to maximize the use of your budget and bids. The third tip is about testing different images. This is probably one of the most important points of the presentation. I'm going to show you an example which will explain the importance of images. Let's look at this image. Here you have a mother and a child. They are looking at the camera. The mother is not smiling, and the child is smiling, but not really facing the camera. It's just a bit shy. This image had a CTR of 1.1%. Then I said, okay, I want to see what happens when people smile. A smile, but not looking at the camera, at a 1.4% CTR. This was very interesting to me. The smile is much more powerful than people looking at the camera. And then I tried to combine the two things, people looking at the camera and people smiling. And the results were amazing. We got a 2.2% CTR. This is extremely important for us because we learned that using this image on other marketing tools or other marketing channels or on the website itself can increase the conversion rate because people like it much better, or they pay more attention to that. So test your images and you will be extremely successful. The fourth point is pretty much related to the one of the first points that we discussed, which is keep mobile and desktop separate. The behavior of people on mobile and desktop devices is completely different. They don't behave the same way. So you cannot create a campaign that doesn't take it into account. For example, mobile has a different size of the ad, a different size of the image. It shows up on a different device. You can simply not use the same campaign. I would recommend to keep ad sets separate for mobile and desktop campaigns, desktop ad sets. But usually what I do in my accounts is I keep different devices on different campaigns because I really want to optimize based on the device and placement where ads show up. In order to set up the placement targeting, I call placement because Facebook describes the device that you want to target as a placement. You need to go into your ad manager or power editor. And by the way, Facebook is changing the interface of the account, so you might have a different screenshot than the one I'm showing you right now, but the concept is pretty much the same. Once you go in the power editor, in my example, I went into ad sets, I selected the ad set I wanted to work on, and scrolling down in the settings, I went to placement. As you can see here, you can select the placements you want, and you can get pretty granular regarding where you want to show up. As you can see, you can customize your ad set based on the placement and device you want to show up. The fifth point is also extremely important when it comes to Facebook advertising. You need to segment audiences into ad sets to be able to optimize budgets, bids, and ads based on results. Let's have an example. Let's say we have an ad set that focuses on AdWords. So the interest could be AdWords, AdWords Expert, or Google Certification Program. The second ad set is about Facebook ads, Facebook marketing solution, and Facebook marketing hour of the day. The third ad set is about online digital marketing. Now, what happens is if ad set number 2 outperforms 1 and 3, what happens is that I can allocate more budget, I can bid more aggressively, or I can optimize the ads to optimize this result. If I would have mixed all of them in one ad set, I would have never known that the one driving sales was Facebook, and therefore I would have allocated budget and wasting money on 1 and 3 because they weren't separate. So separating ad sets into topics is extremely important. So campaigns usually need to divide them by device or placement, and then the ad sets need to be divided by target groups. This is the way you can maximize your performance here. And now we'll hand it over to Kelsey for our first poll question. And if you have any questions, please feel free to share them with us, and I will make sure to answer all of them at the end of the webinar.
Awesome. Thanks, Rocco. A lot of info. So I'm going to start with the first poll question. It's going to come up on your screen now. So if you guys want to vote, that'd be awesome. So the question is, what do you find most difficult on Facebook? Scaling up lead generation, finding the right audience to generate leads or sale, and turning Facebook leads into sales. So if you guys want to vote, we're going to keep it open for a couple more seconds. We have 36% voted. Let's try to get 100% if we can. Keep it open for a little bit longer. We're almost up to 60%, so that's awesome. We'll do, I don't know, 5 more seconds. So you guys just put in your votes. Okay, I'm going to close it with 75% voted. So as you can see on the screen, the most difficult that people have found on Facebook is 43%, turning leads into sales. And then finding the right audience is next at 35%, which is probably the reason why you're on the webinar today. So Rocco, why don't you go ahead and jump into the next part?
Sure, my pleasure. So let's look into point number 6, which is installing multiple conversion pixels. Now, Facebook allows us to install as many conversion pixels as we want. And we need to see conversion pixels not only as a potential lead tracking, but also as a tracking of data learning process. Let's have a look at how to do that, because if you go into conversion tracking in our main interface on Facebook, we can create a pixel and we can give it a name, we can give it a goal. And what happens is that what you can really do is to actually go into point number 7, which is to use more than one conversion pixel in your ads. So let's say that your website it's selling products. But on top of that, your website also has a contact form or has a page that everybody that is ready to buy visits. So you can install conversion codes in these pages, assign them to the ads on top of the main goal, which is the sale, and you can learn a lot on your ad, about your ads. You can learn whether a given audience is generating people going to the contact page. You can learn whether people are looking at a given page on your website. So you can really learn much more having more conversion pixel than just having the lead or the sale pixel. This is how it is done. You need to go into your account and select the ads you're working on. You can allocate tracking pixels at the ad level. So you can see in the little black box there, this is the pixel that is used not for conversion optimization, but this pixel is used for only a tracking purpose. Using that, you can really learn much more about your Facebook ads. And of course, conversion tracking pixel can only be the one that you set up at the ad set level. So to clarify things, you set up what you track conversions with at the ad set level, and you can add tracking pixels in the ad level to track additional actions that you might want to know more about. So this is very cool. Not many people do that, but when you do it, if you have, of course, a reason for doing it, you can learn much more about your ads and your audiences. The eighth point is about targeting by behavior, and this is one of my favorite target methods on Facebook. Unfortunately, this method is only available in the United States, but it is very, very cool. So let's imagine that you want to target people based on what they do or what they're planning to do online. It is very, very nice that Facebook, using their technology, are able to actually find out whether you want to buy a car, whether you want to go on holiday, or whether you want to do other things online. So this is possible to set up the ad set level by going into your ad manager or power editor, going onto your ad set, and then clicking on edit in the audience section. Let's have a look at what I selected here. That's pretty amazing. You can actually target people that used to play games. For example, console gamers are identified by looking at people that use maybe games on Facebook, on their own apps. Or you can target people that use Internet Explorer. Maybe offices are set up with Internet Explorer, so if you want to target businesses, it could be a good test for you to target people that use Internet Explorer. Or you can target purchase behavior, so people that might be interested in trainings and publications. This is pretty powerful. You can actually target people that are looking to buy an SUV, that are looking to buy a used luxury car. You can target people that are interested in traveling. There are a lot of behaviors that you can target. So this is extremely powerful, and you should definitely look into this tool for your Facebook. Another very good use of behavior is for businesses that are typical keyword driven. So businesses that do not work well on display network or on display campaigns. With behavior targeting, you got a shot there. So that's something you should definitely look into and try. Really similar to this targeting is income targeting. Income targeting is only available in the United States, and it allows you to really target people based on their income. Of course, you don't only want to target people based on the income because it is still too general of a target group, but you can exclude target groups that are not interested in your product based on the income that they have. This is a demographic function on Facebook. So you go on the same screen where we went for behaviors. Then if you click on more demographics, you will be getting into financial and then income. You can actually target income, net worth, and the subsection of net worth is liquid assets. So as you can see here, there are a lot of categories to choose from. And here, I didn't include all of them because there was a scroll. But as you can see, it is very powerful information, because let's imagine that your product targets people earning below $100,000. Now you can target them on Facebook. Before you couldn't. So it is very powerful, and I strongly recommend you guys to try it out. But again, combining it with another target methods in the campaign. It could be an interest, a behavior, or maybe another demographics. The 10th point is about setting up a remarketing pixel. Many of you might already do that, but setting up remarketing is not only about targeting people that visited your website. Remarketing pixel actually allows you to target people that already bought from you to maybe upsell the product, or it allows you to target people that visited specific pages of your website. So it's not only about targeting past visitors, because maybe past visitors are not who you're looking for. You're looking for people that are interested in your product. Remarketing pixel can be set up either in the live account or in the Power Editor. It doesn't matter where you go, as long as you go somewhere and you click on audiences, and you will get a screen that looks somehow like that. Facebook again changed the interface, so it might have something moving around from the screenshots that I'm showing you. Once you are in Create Audience, you need to click on Custom Audience, and you will be able to click on Website Traffic. As you can see here, you get a lot of options to choose from. For example, anyone who visits your website, people who visit specific web pages, etc. Usually what I recommend doing is to set up the remarketing list as anyone who visits your website, and then you can create sublists out of this initial list to target people that bought from you, people that visited particular pages, or to create service or product specific ads. And now it's time again to answer another questions. Let's try to make it 100% this time so Kelsey is happy.
Yay, yes, I like being happy. Okay, so our next question, I'm going to launch it now. So what do you use most frequently when it comes to Facebook advertising? Boosted posts, the Facebook Ads Manager, the Power Editor, or none of the above? So we have a lot of good input already. So we're already halfway. So let's see if we can get all of you guys to vote. And in the meantime, while you're voting, just remember you can ask questions to Rocco in the questions tab on GoToWebinar. And then if you want to live tweet or ask any questions, you can use the hashtag SEJ ThinkTank, and we can try to help you out there as well. So we have 75% voted, and we're not going past that, so that might be our cap. Oh, here we go. All right, I'll leave it up for 5 more seconds. Okay. So it looks like the Facebook Ads Manager is what most of you guys use, and then Boosted Posts is second. And then Power Editor, and then none of the above. So maybe some of you are looking to get into Facebook ads, and that's why you joined the webinar, which is great.
Well, you should use the Power Editor though, guys. You should use that. It's much better to create effective ads. So I'm going to push in that direction. we need to bring Power Editor to position 1.
The Power Editor is just kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's just an easier to use interface of the Ads Manager,
well,
correct?
Before it was a terrible to use interface. With the new changes that they made, it's better. And the advantage of the Power Editor is that you can duplicate things, you can duplicate campaigns, ads, ad sets. So it's much faster when you want to test a lot of audiences and you don't want to create them manually. So let's say it speeds up your work time by like at least 4 to 5 times. Like I can create campaigns with 100 ad sets in about 10 minutes with the Power Editor. With the Ad Manager, it would take me a bit longer.
Awesome, that's good to know. I think a lot of people just don't want to use it because they don't know how. So that's a good reason to learn, for sure.
Yes, for sure is. And a very another good point that I think people should use Facebook for is to identify who their customers are. If you look in point 11, you can actually identify profitable age groups and gender for your accounts. Now, in the past, Facebook had something called reporting. It was such an important tool, but nobody was using it. And actually, Facebook, what they did, they brought reporting into the main interface of the account. And that's why nowadays you see a completely new interface into your ad manager. When you run reports for your account, in the past you needed to click on report and you would have gone into a screen that looked like it. Right now it looks exactly the same when you just go into your main ad manager account. It's extremely important to understand within a successful audience who is generating money for you, how old people are, what their gender is like, and the age and gender combined together. This is extremely valuable information because what you can do, you can actually get a successful ad set and break it down into multiple ad sets and customize budgets and bids based on the performance on each age range and gender. This is something that not many people do because it's time consuming, but I can guarantee you can boost your performance by at least 30% by starting doing that. And as you can see here, in the screenshot, you can actually break it down also by country, region, placement. So you can use this tip also to break down a national campaign into state or city campaigns and customize the bids accordingly. So pay attention to reporting and make sure to use it all over in your campaigns. The 12th point is to test lookalike audiences. Lookalike audiences are groups of people that basically look like people that converted on your site or people that visited your website. So it is extremely important to advertise to people whose profiles are very similar to people that already, for example, bought from you. And as you can imagine, it's much easier to sell to people that fit your customer profile than to people that never heard of you and are not interested in you. Now, lookalike audiences are set up in the audience section of the account. Instead of creating a remarketing list here, you click on lookalike audience. You need to select a source campaign. That's why I was pushing you guys to have sub-lists of remarketing lists, because you can have a list of people that bought from you, and a list of people that visited your website, and a list of people that went to a product page. You can use this list as audiences for lookalike audiences. So you can type in the list name that you input in the account, and then you can select a target country. You can have one lookalike audience per target country. Now, you need to select the size of the audience. The smaller the merrier, because you're going to target people with profiles that match almost to the dot your current customers. If you go toward the 21 million line there, you're going to target people that are way too broad in terms of targeting compared to the ones that you want to reach out to. Target an email list. This is very cool. Like, many businesses make a lot of money selling to their existing customers or people that joined an email list. You can upload your email list on Facebook and target those people when they go on Facebook. Or you can actually create a lookalike list out of these people. So the way to do it is extremely easy. You again need to go into your audience section and you click on create an audience. You then click on custom audience. It will pop up a screen that looks like that, where you can choose among 3 options, and you're going to click on customer list. You can include as many things as you want. Usually the most common input is an email address. Once you do that, you basically have a CSV file that is uploaded in Facebook that will match an email to a profile, and this is your list. So you can also use, again, a lookalike audience of this list to find people that are similar to the ones you already emailed to. So very powerful stuff, as you can see. The point 14 is about testing bidding strategies. Many people set up a bid, maybe they change it once in their lifetime of the account and never optimize it again. But what I found out testing more than 14,000 Facebook ads is that you can actually test bids. So for example, if a CPC strategy is working out well for you, it doesn't matter that if you change it to CPA, CPA doesn't bid it. If you change it back to CPC, maybe it works even better, because customers, the Facebook itself, and targets are evolving. Competition is entering the market, and therefore the bidding strategy cannot stay static. You cannot have something static in a dynamic world. You need to adapt. So keep testing those. Again, something that I want to share with you is that, as you all of you know, on Facebook you can bid with cost per click, cost per 1,000 impressions, and conversion optimizer. Conversion optimizer needs to be tested. It is not a guarantee. But no matter what bid you go for, you will always have the chance to set up more toward the manual work. For example, when you work on a cost per click level, you can set up the bid that you want to have, and Facebook actually gives you some suggestions on what to bid. Or you can use an automated bidding type within the click type. So you can tell Facebook, get me more clicks at the best price. Usually, more data you have in the account, more convenient it is to automate. If you don't have enough data, automation doesn't work very well. This is because Facebook is a data-driven business. The more data you give them, the more they will be able to help you. So maybe start with a cost per click kind of bidding. And once you collect data in terms of clicks, conversions, impressions, reach, try to switch to an automatic bidding method and see how it works for you. And
So
the last point, go ahead,
sorry,
please.
I have a question. So I've never heard of the conversion optimizer. Can you explain a little bit more about the difference between that and the other 2 ways to bid?
Sure. So basically, conversion optimizer can only be set up for ad sets, or in this case, campaigns that have a goal of website conversion. So when you set up a campaign, Facebook will ask you, what is the goal of your campaign? And you can set up click, conversions, and reach, etc. If you set up conversion, you will have an extra bidding method, which is website conversion optimization. The way it works is that Facebook constantly learns from your pixel in the account. They learn who buys from you, at what time of the day, for example, what they like, their interest, their behavior basically online on Facebook and on website that Facebook can keep track on. Once they learn, the more data you give them, the more they learn, of course. But once they learn who you are and who your customers are, they can basically try to optimize the delivery of your ad in terms both of time of the day and day of the week, but also in terms of customers profile to find the people that are more likely to convert for you. So this bidding method doesn't allow you to control bids, doesn't allow you to control nothing basically. But what happens is that, let's say your conversion code is an issue, or a competitor enters the market and has a lower price, or let's imagine that you have a broken link on the page. Maybe Facebook doesn't know that because it's the data-driven business, so it learns from the data you give it. So what could happen is that it starts learning that your cost per conversion is not $7 anymore, but it is $10. So it starts optimizing toward $10. So it is very important to keep track of how of the trends, not on a daily basis, but maybe on a month-by-month basis, to figure out whether something like that is happening, and that's the moment where you need to test another bidding strategy and come back to conversion optimization when you have a cost per lead that you are comfortable with, because you trained Facebook to go back to a lower cost. Does it make sense, Kelsey?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Cool. The last point, but I think it's actually the point I like the most, is scheduled ads. Because many clients used to come to me and say, okay, I do want to run ads 9 to 5. And many people told them they couldn't, but actually on Facebook you can. There is just a little condition you need to accept, that you are going to have a fixed budget. A fixed budget is something that you tell Facebook to do. You pick a start date, an end date, and a budget. Facebook will start delivering your ad at the start date. Usually you get a spike in traffic. Then there is a decrease in traffic and another spike in traffic toward the end of the period because you need to use up your budget. This way of spending money on Facebook is called a fixed budget campaign, and it allows you to pick when you want to run your ads. And as you can see in my screenshot here, you really get a little graph down there where you can select the days, the hours, and you can select exactly the time frames you want your ad to show up. You cannot do that with daily budget campaign. This is because Facebook still doesn't allow you to do that. And you cannot do that if you run a campaign where you're asking Facebook to maximize the amount of clicks within your budget, or for conversion optimization campaign, or for any campaign that is automated, because Facebook needs to use the whole day to take decisions for you. So this is something that it is very useful for businesses that maybe want to have customers called in overnight. They don't want clicks, so it's kind of a pain to switch on and off the campaigns. It has its drawbacks. As you can see, you cannot automate a lot of it, but it is a very cool tool for you guys to use. And I would really love to answer some of your questions now, because I think that webinars are mostly helpful if you can interact with the speaker. And of course, I'm Rocco Baldassare, and I'm inviting you to join all of my social media channels so we can stay in touch.
Okay, awesome. So now we're going to do a little Q&A, and Rocco, if you want to go to the last slide.
Sure.
Or do you want to mention your marketing course before we go to our Q&A?
Yeah, I'm about to launch actually a marketing course, which is quite cool if you want to learn everything there is to know about Facebook. Because when I got started with Facebook, I kind of didn't find anything that answered the basic questions I needed answered, and that gave me also advanced techniques. So I put together quite a cool course. It will be live within the next few days, but I already have a page, as you can see there, that you can insert your email, and you will get an update on the launch date. I'm sure you will like it. There will be a lot of webinars, podcasts, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys.
Awesome. Yeah, I know you had a lot of information in this presentation, so be sure, you guys, if you're interested, to check out the course. And then also these slides and the webinar, the whole recording, are going to be available on SlideShare and YouTube after as well. So, and before we go to our Q&A.
Now what happened? Here we go. No.
Oh.
I need to...
Before we go to our Q&A, the last thing I wanted to bring up was our next webinar, which is with Page One Power, and it's the 4-stage link building cycle. And that's in 2 weeks on August 19th at 1 p.m. And we're going to have two great guys from Page One Power there, and then Lauren Baker, SEJ's founder, will be moderating. So be sure to check that out. Danielle will give the link to sign up in the chat window. And so without further ado, let's move on to questions. So Danielle sent me a lot of great questions from you guys. So Rocco, I'm just going to kind of go through these.
Perfect.
Okay, Vincent wants to know, so when you were talking about running ads against each other to test them, he asked, won't that cannibalize your stats? So won't that, make an impact on your stats if you're running two ads against one another?
Yeah, it will change the stats, but unfortunately in online marketing, the only way to move forward is to do A/B testing. The downside of A/B testing is that A/B testing can go the other way around. So you might find out that the ads that you're testing against each other might worsen your results. So you need to pause what's working bad, keep what's good, and test again. Usually, I recommend testing within 3 and 5 ads at the time. More than 3 to 5 ads doesn't generate statistically relevant results. But unfortunately, that's the risk of the game. If you want to test and improve by 1%, you also need to take into consideration that the new ad might perform worse, so you need to pause it and go back one step and test again.
Yeah, and you know what you're talking about. I mean, you've tested thousands of ads, so testing's always a good thing for sure.
Not all of them worked out right away, so you need to do some testing.
That's the point. Okay, Michael L. wanted to know what ad unit formats and sizes are best for CTR, and what
Well,
are
yeah,
static ads the best?
this is actually a very good question because CTR is a very important metric on Facebook. I don't know, I didn't mention the relevance score, but the relevance score is something that was introduced on Facebook about 1 to 2 months ago. And the higher the relevance score is, the lower your cost per click will be. CTR is for sure a factor that influences the relevance score together with comments, shares, and likes. Now, when you want to work on a high CTR kind of ad set, you need to work on the newsfeed on desktop devices and on newsfeed on mobile devices. I don't recommend using mobile if your website is not ready to convert on mobile, of course. On the other hand side, that's also why I suggest to keep desktop and newsfeed ads separately because, sorry, the right column ads separately because right column ads historically have a lower CDR. That doesn't mean that they hurt your relevance score because Facebook knows about the lower CDR and therefore they kind of balance it out in their numbers. But if you really want to get noticed and you get the high CDR, you need to go for desktop and mobile newsfeed.
Okay, awesome. He also asked, and I don't know if you answered this, are static ads the best?
I guess with static ads, it refers to images against videos. Well, videos are very good for branding, but they don't generate as many clicks to the site as static ads. So if you're looking for clicks to the website as opposed to branding, yes, that's the way to go.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, here's another question. I don't know if it was from Michael L. or someone else, but it says, should posts be boosted? And if yes, when and how? So boosted posts was something I know you didn't talk a lot about. Do you think that that's a good advertising strategy?
The reason why I don't even talk about them is because I don't like boosted posts. I always like, yeah, I always like to boost a post through the Power Editor because you have more control over it. First of all, you can create variations of it and see if there are images performing better than the one you chose. Secondly, you have more control over statistics because you can look at stats from there and you don't just look at the number of likes, comments, because what happens with boosted posts is that you forget that you have a whole advertising interface. So you kind of don't log in and look at the results, you just let it be. So that's why I don't like to boost posts. So I would recommend you to boost posts, but through the Power Editor, through a post engagement campaign or click to site campaign if your goal is to get click to the site. And just so you know, when you boost a post, your automatic campaign type is going to be page engagement. So you're going to optimize the campaign for comments, shares, and likes, not as much as for conversions or website clicks.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's see. Sarah wanted to know, what if you want to market to people who have liked your Facebook page? So that was her question. So I would say when would that be a good idea to market only to people who've already liked your page, or do you recommend that at all?
So I always don't recommend things just out of the blue. I just say, okay, you need to test an audience, and that's your recommendation. If the audience works out, it's recommendable, otherwise not. So that's my first tip. The second one would be the way to use your likes is to promote upsells or promotions or discounts or special deals. Because, for example, if you promote a special deal and the person likes or shares the post because they feel special, their friends will see the special deal for likes only. And even though maybe it's not for likes only, because there is no way to say it's deal for likes only, they might like your page as well. So that's when I would use the like audience for your campaign.
Okay, good advice. Wiz wants to know what's the next step after setting up. Do you track everyone on your website, or he just wants to know the next steps after you set your ad campaigns up? I mean, is it monitoring, tweaking, more testing?
So usually, of course, it depends on the budget because each campaign has a different way to roll out depending on the budget. For example, let's say that you have a decent budget for your campaign, which could be $10 a day, could be still a decent budget if your audience is kind of cheap compared to audiences that might be a little bit more expensive from a cost per click point of view. But the first step is to kill the audiences that are not performing well. I usually test 10 to 30 audiences at a time, and when I find that 20% of the audiences that generate 80% of the conversions, I kill the others and focus on those. Then I start testing ads like crazy. I really test them a lot. And once I find the ads that I like best, I test biddings on those ads. Once I tested bidding, I restart the cycle. I add new audiences on top of the ones I have, testing new ads. Then I kill the audiences that don't work well. I pick the winners in the ads, and I test bidding if necessary. So it's a cycle that you should always do because, of course, you want to keep improving your campaigns. And one way is to optimize what you have, and the second way is to expand what you already have.
Okay, so going off of that, and you might say that this depends on each Facebook page or campaign, but what is a really good CTR for Facebook ads?
It really varies, in my opinion, on the industry because I have campaigns with a 15% CTR, but this is usually very rare because 15% means that it is extremely relevant to the audience that you have.
Yeah.
I would say on desktop, everything above 1% is nice to have. Below 1%, you either have the wrong ad or the wrong offer for a given audience.
Okay. Good advice. I was just curious for myself.
Cool. That's cool.
Don wants to know, can you create a lookalike audience based on another business's page?
That's illegal, I think, unfortunately.
Okay, so you can't.
You can target people interested in a page if it is available. In the past, there were scraping tools, but they're closing them all up because, of course, it's not fair practice, but unfortunately, you cannot do that.
Okay, good to know. Let's see. Form. Okay, so Nicholas wants to know, when using Facebook ads, what is best for form fill? So it's kind of confusing, but I think he's asking what's the best conversion for a website? Should it be form fill outs or something else for Facebook?
Yeah. It really depends on the business that you have. Let's say that people that are on Facebook are not people like the ones on Google AdWords because they're looking for a keyword that they intent to buy. So maybe sometimes I've seen working better informative kind of pages. One of my clients didn't even have a form because he wanted to tell people, he wanted to give information and didn't want to capture the lead because he said the lead will read what I have here and will contact me anyway. Other people prefer to have a form with to fill out, but no matter what strategy you go for, these are people that don't know about you. So when you don't know about something, the first thing you need to know is to get to know something. So don't have a page with just a squeeze page. It won't work very well. Have a page that talks to your customers and tells them who you are, how you can help, and what you've done in the past. So let them know you, and then they will fill the form for you.
Good advice. Okay, I think Nicholas might have asked this too. Oh, no, sorry, it was Whitney. What tips do you have for increasing relevance scores?
Well, the first tip is, like, it's more than a tip, is let's say a mini statement. When you have a campaign that is 100% focused on sales or leads, unfortunately, the relevance score will suffer because whenever you have, like, imagine the following: if you're promoting a cell phone with an ad that says, "This is my cell phone, that's the price, buy now." Or another way to promote it could be a cartoon with a funny joke. Now, it's much more likely to get a share, a like, and a comment on a cartoon with a funny joke. And since this generates social engagement, the relevance score will be high. The moment you do an ad with direct buying intent, it's going to be kind of not very good from a relevance score point of view. So the more social engaging your ad is, the higher the relevance score will be. There are exceptions because there are, for example, when you offer something that people really want, they start sharing it. But the general rule is the one I just said.
Yeah, and that goes back to what you said about Google Ads versus Facebook ads. Google Ads, people have the intent to buy,
Yeah,
versus Facebook, they're on Facebook just to connect with their friends and family, not necessarily to buy something.
exactly.
So, okay. Okay, Terry wants to know, is it true that if you include a link in your post that the post isn't seen by as many people? I think he's talking about content that you can boost.
Well, from an organic point of view, I don't think there is much of a difference because the way usually Facebook works is that if during the first minutes of an organic post you get engagement and likes, you start showing up on top of the wall of your friends, family, and people that are connected to them. So a link shouldn't make a difference. Of course, if you promote always self-promotional things, it could be that Facebook has an algorithm built in that if they see that the majority of your posts are ignored or people mark them as spam, you kind of get issues to get to be seen organically. From a paid point of view, well, you are paying for your ads, so you usually show up on top anyway.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured, that you're being if you're paying, then it probably doesn't affect it as much.
Yeah.
Uh, let's see. Marcella wants to know, and this kind of feeds into what we just talked about. Facebook is getting hard to reach an audience organically. What do you think about the strategy to boost some posts to reach current fans, and do ads get more fans?
So that's really a tricky question. Let's tell you why. I have a personal, some friends here in Italy, they're YouTubers. Every time they post something on Facebook, or within the first hour, they get 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 likes, and they get to get 2 million views every video they published on Facebook. Now, the difference there between what they do and what many companies do is that their content is fun, their content is enjoyable, so people tend to share it a lot. From an organic point of view, you don't gain traction by getting followers and then trying to have more people look at your page. The more successful pages are the ones that really solve a problem for clients. And I cannot make an example, unfortunately, because it's one of my clients, so I don't want to self-promote them. But this client of mine, they basically offer a service, a paid service, clearly a paid for service in the ad, but the target audience is so needy of this service that their posts reach organically a lot of people. So it really depends on the product you have and the way you make you promote your product also organically. And of course, if your organic doesn't get enough views, try to come up maybe with fun content, shareable content, boost it a couple of times, keep producing content on this like line of work, and you will see that you start gaining organic traction.
Okay, that's good advice. I know a lot of people would rather get organic traffic just naturally without paying for it, but unfortunately with Facebook, it's kind of we need to try as businesses to see if ads work better. So,
Exactly.
okay. Let's see. There's a lot of questions, so that's good, guys. Okay, Whitney wanted to know, what tips do you have for increasing the performance of likes campaigns?
Sure. And when you go for a like campaign, the first thing I do is I see where the likes are coming from, whether from the newsfeed, the mobile devices, or right columns. What you usually find out is that the like from mobile or right column might cost a bit less than a like from a desktop, but the like from the right column is of a bit lower quality because it's more of um, an instant like you click because you see it there sometimes. So what I recommend is to split down performance by placement and device and see what's bringing you the money to create custom campaign for those. On top of that, look at the target audience that you have, and if you target a wide age range, look which age range is producing the more likes at the lower cost, create a campaign for those and create a higher budget for that, or allocate a higher portion of the budget that you already have. This will already increase your likes.
Okay, good advice, Whitney. I hope that helps you. So we have two more questions, and if we don't get to your question today, Danielle is going to follow up with Rocco with the questions, and then we'll try to get those to you through social media on the hashtag SEJ ThinkTank. Let's see. So Jeff wanted to know, and this is a really good question, Jeff. How often do you need to change either image or ad copy due to burnout?
Well, I look at results. I always monitor performance, but the way I manage campaigns is that I never had one ad running. I always test 3 to 5 at the same time, and when I finish a test, I immediately start another one. So let's say my ads never burn out, but I constantly test, and test because I want to make sure that my account is always on top of things. And by testing and rotating your ads, it's very easy to burn out any ad.
Yeah, is the ad copy when you're testing, how different is the different ad copy? Is it,
I
you
test one element at a time. I do test cycles. So for example, let's say for me, Facebook is composed of, let's say, 4 elements. The post text, the image, the headline, and the description. For somebody, it's interesting also to include the display URL as a 5th element. Now, the concept is very simple. If I mix up images and text, I don't know how to evaluate which ad is performing better and why. Because I might have ad 1 and 2 having different text and image. And what do I know? Was the image making the difference? Was the text making the difference? Was the headline? I don't know. So I test one element at a time. So I keep 5 static elements. I pick one element, I vary it in 5 ads. And once I find what works out, I know why it worked out. Because of the image, because of the text, of the headline. Once I finish the test, for example, for the image stays the same and I test 5 headlines. Once I pick the best headline and image, I test the post text. And I keep rotating this sort of tests because if I don't vary, if I don't keep the other elements static, I don't know what influence the CTR, the conversion rate, is just a guessing game there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just do completely totally different ads instead of testing certain elements, so that's really good advice.
Yeah, testing is key.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, and then for our last question today, I'm gonna butcher your name. I'm really sorry. Vangelis? Rocco, he or she asked, I'm really sorry. Rocco, you don't recommend boost post format, but is it true that boosted posts achieve higher reach than a setup through Power Editor?
Usually not, because what a boosted post is a post engagement ad set up in the Power Editor. So they're exactly the same thing. Now, if you approach the question from another point of view, did you ever notice that when you boost the post, the options that they display you for targeting are lower? In that case, what happens is that Facebook has a smaller menu, which you can expand, of course, but many people don't do it. So the target audience to begin with is much bigger. And what happens is if I want to sell, for example, my cell phone, and my cell phone might be, many people might want it, but maybe people interested in technology are more likely to buy it. While if I don't set up a technology kind of interest in my ad, I just advertise to everybody 20 to 40. So the cost per click will be lower because I'm advertising to a wider audience, to a less narrow audience, but the effectiveness of the ads will be lower, but I reach more people. So that's the concept behind it.
Okay, that makes sense. So we have a late question. It was from Nicholas. He had asked earlier, oh, let me see, when using Facebook, he was the one who asked about the conversions for the websites for forms, and so
Yeah.
he apologized and said that that was confusing. What he wanted to know was what was the best ad type. So Facebook offers website clicks conversions
Oh, okay.
to maximize conversions. And he says, for an example, you have Google optimized conversions for you. So we're wondering which ad type works best based on the result, website clicks, conversions, etc.
So from a theoretical point of view, all of these campaign types are exactly the same thing. Because if you go, for example, into the settings of each, you will see that you can bid per impression and bid per click. What really changes is one option within the ad set. On the campaigns that you optimize for clicks, you have an option called optimize to get more clicks to the website. On the campaigns that you want to optimize for conversions, you have a conversion optimization bidding type. Of course, when your goal is to convert and not to generate clicks, because clicks you can still do it manually anyway, you should use a conversion optimization bidding. And the reason is that you have one more bidding method to test in your account once you have data to kind of back up the conversion optimization strategy. But of course, this means that probably in your case, getting more clicks gets more leads and it's better for you. So you really need to figure out what works best, maybe testing the CPI bidding method with a manual or automatic click type to say maximize the amount of clicks within my budget and see which one converts at a higher rate for you.
Okay. Nicholas, I hope that answered your question. So that's all we have for today. Thanks everyone for joining. Again, Rocco's going to answer questions that we didn't get to on our hashtag SEJ ThinkTank. You can also follow Rocco or ask him on Twitter at Rocco_Zebra_ADV. And again, the slides are going to be available on SlideShare and the recording will be available on YouTube. So Rocco, thank you so much for joining us. A lot of awesome information.
It was a pleasure.